Hello.
Is everybody?
Yeah, see if people join. Oh, we got 3
Hi.
people.
Hi, it's Becca and Garrett.
Hello.
He's nervous, and so am I. We had a mostly good day. Well, we had a good doctor's appointment, at least. We actually recorded it, and I want to play the whole recording because I could never remember all of it. I don't even remember some of it right now. My brain has been very awful today and lately. I don't remember anything, or I don't know, I forget to do stuff. That's the same thing as not remembering. And then, so I finally found a comfy way to wear my tube like this with my mask. It doesn't pull on it or nothing. We were zip tying it, putting it behind my ear, but that was a lot of work and I needed help with it. I don't need help with this. So that's a plus. Now it hurts a little less. And I've been sipping my tea and honey.
Hey.
Oh, there's Therapy Kitty. Yeah, hi. Say hi, Kitty. She's really curious about all of this stuff that's going on with like Lemon and the machine, the noises that it makes her very curious. I don't know what else. I was very nervous at my doctor's appointment. I like chewed up my fingernails or like picked at them because I was so nervous, like I'm doing right now. And
Yeah, you need to stop.
yeah. Today's been hard because I feel crazy. Like I can't control my hormones. I know that I'm acting like a fool, but I don't know how to reel that in at all. And I end up taking it out on the people around me, and that's not fair. And I don't know how to stop that yet, but my doctor's very hopeful that he can stop that for me. We're gonna start. Oh, I can just play this. We recorded it so you guys, because it's always so great. The appointments are always so great. And I don't ever remember them like I want to. But now I will, and I get to share this information with my friend in North Carolina who is sick with COVID too. Okay.
Love the mask. Garrett loved the mask. Did somebody make those for you? Fantastic. I bet you were really popular at U of A. Did you?
Let us know if it's too loud or too quiet.
Yeah, if you can't hear it.
Quality of your hair suffered or did not suffer? Good.
They made jokes about me though.
I bet.
Yeah.
So I got some reports from you, but I wanted to hear from both of you first. How do you feel like that hospital stay went?
Very well.
Good. What answers did you get or reassurances did you get?
Only thing we got was that it's caused by COVID.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the only reassurance, really.
Yeah, they pretty much ruled everything.
Yeah.
Good hospital out.
I love that they were really thorough. Now, the person that did the discharge summary, not so thorough, because I'm pretty sure, I'm not positive though that you had a scope done.
I did.
Okay.
But not at that hospital.
Oh, okay. They didn't mention anything about the scope. That's kind of an important piece.
Yeah.
So the scope didn't see any ulcers or didn't
Nope.
see any damage to the esophagus?
No, the scope only saw inflammation, and they said they want to do a digestive study or
Emptying
something.
study. Yeah, I saw
for
that.
gastroparesis.
And they may very well have a point, I'm going to probably go down a slightly different road with you, and at the end of this road, it's your body. So whatever you decide is up to you. He has a big say on your body, so I think you ought to get a big vote.
Yes.
But I just want to give some information on that topic. How's the nausea doing?
Still nauseous. Not as much. It's definitely more manageable now. But it's still constantly there. Just not as bad. And not throwing up.
And then I was curious about one of the things that the pain management specialist had given you a pill called Nortriptyline or Desiril.
Is everyone able to hear? Is it coming through clearly?
So apparently it didn't
If you
follow
can't hear, let us know.
It
It did follow you.
Yeah.
The reason I'm curious is we've had all kinds of problems with transit, stuff moving through your gut. And that one's number one side effect, it will lock up your gut.
Oh.
So that's probably where the stool softener comes into play.
Yeah, so I like the stool softener idea, but I'm not sure I follow their reasoning behind, here's somebody that's having all kinds of digestive issues moving stuff through. And then our number one side effect on one of the pain medicines is it hits the brake pedal there.
I think the idea was for me to not have anything by mouth because the tube just goes through my stomach into the small intestine. So maybe that was the reason. I don't know.
I think that the whatever that word is the one at night. At night.
Yeah, that's correct.
Bed.
Yeah. Well, would it help me sleep? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it would certainly help you
That may be
sleep.
what it is.
And it's understandable that anybody with this would feel a little, certainly upset. Nobody wants to be sick, and as an antidepressant, it works really well also. Now, you're right, with the feeding tube in, it is going to dodge the bigger portion of that gastric and intestinal problem, but it just seemed like an unusual choice to me. How long do they plan on keeping that in?
I don't know.
Just
I
indefinitely.
think it's up to you.
Are you getting any formula through that?
Mm.
Okay. What are you getting and how much? That
I
also did not make the note.
brought this for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I brought all these. This is probably what you need. Because that's my discharge paperwork.
Gotcha.
Ooh, that was threw up.
Yeah, I think it was a medical student that did the discharge surgery.
Yeah,
So
probably.
I'm hopeful that I get something that's a little higher
I think
quality.
he was a very new doctor.
Yeah.
It was Dr. Casely, I think.
In the month of July, everybody turns over, and so the brand spanking new folks are in the building.
Stop tracking it. I'm gonna take it from you.
So I have this, but this part was certainly helpful.
Yeah, because I don't have these two enzymes that I'm supposed to have. I think you're supposed to prescribe them to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then I figured they would give you a month's supply of that.
They were
Insurance,
supposed to.
yeah, insurance may have a little bit of beef there.
Okay,
We shall see.
okay.
Sodium bicarb, we won't have a problem getting the second one.
I haven't had a problem with the tube clogging or anything.
Good.
So.
Yeah. Did you get a haircut?
I
It
did.
looks great.
Thank you.
Where'd you go?
My wife.
Oh,
We've done the COVID situation.
Nice.
We
You're
just
good
kinda-
enough now. You can
from-
go back here and cut your hair.
From necessity, we kind of went there, but I kind of like
Yeah.
what Danielle does. So.
she does a great job.
Thank you.
We need to do something with this. We're
Did
just
you-
talking
Now
about
he's
it.
stylish and aerodynamic.
Did you bring what the dietitian recommended for feedings?
Well, she's got a total of 1320 on the osmolite a day, and so I'm assuming they separate that so you're able to have it stop while you're trying to eat meals and then run.
And I'm only at 393 of that 1320 for today.
And every time
Wait,
you
that's not right. 1 second, I'm sorry. I don't know how to do stuff.
Very well.
We messed it up.
Test had to do with this liver enzyme. And now obviously the osmolite can replace everything that you're getting along with
But
those
a
other
lot
two
of it is the
supplements.
swallow
So I want to have a more heady discussion. We've had a portion of this before as it pertains to long haul COVID, HAUL. And I want to use a couple of our lab studies to help with this. When long haul COVID started to, and apparently only one of them when long haul COVID started to become a thing, where there were many of us in the country that were treating people that did not test antibody positive, did not have any kind of swab necessarily, but were certainly sick, we started seeing different lab things that would indicate, well, they're sick with something. And then the pattern of they're sick with COVID came up with 3 different lab tests that were pretty reliable. The first, white blood cell count would be normal or a little bit high, but it would shift toward fighting bacteria instead of viruses. And when we'd initially done lab work for you, yours was there. The second, there's either a sedimentation rate or CRP that would get elevated. Yours was also there whenever we first started. And then the final test had to do with this liver enzyme study, and all of yours went up at first, but specifically ALT, or the other name for it, SGPT. And as you've recovered, the white blood cells have gotten better, but still hadn't shifted back to, we should be producing viral fighters. The sedimentation rate normalized. This is the first lab on you that I've seen where that liver one normalized. So I like seeing that a lot.
Yeah.
I like seeing that a whole lot. And what I also like is there's a lot of really smart people that are working on how do we help folks now that we know we've got a contingent of people that have this. There's a lot of really smart people working on what can I do to help. There was out of Mayo Clinic from last month, so it would have been the August edition of Mayo Clinic, 13 articles on COVID, 10 of which were long-term COVID. What do we do to help these people? One of them was a little snippet of a study that is going to be in a little bit more detail out of New England Journal this coming week. That's kind of like our Bible in the scientific community. And it has to do with our guys that have long-term COVID seem to get better with testosterone. And the ladies with estrogen. And the theory behind it, which started out of Mayo Clinic, and then a few other researchers picked it up, and so New England has all of these researchers getting together. It's a relatively small study. It's about 150 people, 70 some of each. The theory behind it is when people are producing the wrong kind of white blood cell, they're producing a neutrophil, and what they need is a lymphocyte, then the body says, hey, I need something more, They can't produce this, so they do produce all of these other second messengers, and you get interferon and the cytokine storm. This shuts down the storm. And they started doing it in the very old people that are in the hospital, like getting ready to pass from this. But this study looked at the long haulers that were in the outpatient setting, and it's a really big improvement. I cannot think of a downside to getting you a low dose of estrogen over at least the next couple of weeks.
I 100% agree.
And see if we can't get that storm piece to kind of go through, because that storm piece leads to the neurologic stuff. We get the burning or the tingling, and in your case, we also get that GI motility piece. So I get it. My GI colleagues, I would agree with virtually all the time with the gastric emptying study, but we know what's causing yours, and they affirmed what's causing yours. And I'd rather get to what is at the core of it, and I've got another weapon to work with that won't at all hurt your stomach, but may very well help that entire digestive process.
So this is very interesting to me. Is that journal something we can view publicly?
It should be. So type in estrogen and long haul COVID under Google.
That is very interesting to me, because when I start my period, I get crazy. And my symptoms flare up really bad.
Yeah, and you've mentioned that to me before. It's like, well, she's just under more stress. But as I was looking at these researchers initially out of Mayo Clinics, like, man, everything they say makes sense.
And I was just telling him that I feel crazy, but I can't control it. I know I'm being crazy, but I can't control it.
But that whole second messenger system and the cytokine thing, but we thought it was playing havoc on the hormones, and as it turns out, the hormones are getting drafted for duty, it seems, and so you have essentially less of what you're used to, which similar to if I'm newly pregnant, if I've newly delivered, postpartum depression is not just I'm depressed because I have a kid. It has a lot to do with hormone changes. So this seems to be that.
That makes a lot of sense.
When is the last time you finished your menstrual period?
So I had what I thought was my period when I was in the hospital on September 1st.
Okay.
But it was very weird and very light. It wasn't, my COVID periods have been very heavy and very awful.
And that's likely that estrogen progesterone thing. So what I'd recommend is this. The
So
estrogen...
is that basically birth control?
A little bit higher amount of birth control. So when I have a young lady that either has an ovarian cyst or endometriosis, and we're trying to fix the problem in the first thing, prevent a surgery in the second thing, we'll usually use a product called estrace, which is estrogen, at a much higher level than what their body produces, but not at a level that's going to be harmful to them in the short term. So it's a 2 milligram tablet once a day for the next 3 weeks.
Okay.
And then because it's unopposed estrogen and your body needs the testosterone, or needs the progesterone as well, we would have to do 5 days of progesterone at the end, so you then would have a period in late September or early October.
Okay.
One warning for him. Estrogen at a high level is likely to make her amorous. Be ready.
I'll get lucky.
You will likely be a little more emotional at first.
Oh, yeah.
In all ways, and so if you're watching a sad movie, that's going to happen. I think you've managed the frustrations of this really well, but you may find an extra tear or two that we can blame on the hormone.
Okay.
I think the hormone is likely to be our final step here.
Okay.
Final step
That sounds
in
so
your
good.
recovery. And so if it works the way I think it's going to, we should see the ability to eat some food, the ability to digest it and send it on down as we normally would. We should be picking up some of these neurologic symptoms a little bit, because when there's more female hormone in there, at least according to some really smart people, this seems to shut off that storm. That storm is the only thing messing with your nervous system right now.
Right. Okay.
So that would have been what one of the medicines she was on for what they were calling muscle migraines.
Yeah, probably going to end up being this.
Okay.
So, is the progesterone a shot or?
Come on.
Okay. And it's something we can do through this?
I don't know for sure. I mean, we can certainly grind it up. It's not it's only a once a day thing, but it's not a, if I crush up this pill, it doesn't work.
Okay. Because I haven't been able to tolerate the 1 pill a day that I have to swallow.
Good. So see what you can do with the pill swallowing it. The only thing we don't know, because this is brand new, we don't know length of time a person needs to be on it, but I anticipate looking at that lab that I've shown you, and then the one other test that I saw that showed a normal set rate, we should see improvement sooner than later on you. I've got 3 other long haulers that we're currently treating, and one just went back to work. But the guy's got testosterone, and the 2 ladies this afternoon are going to get estrogen thanks to those studies.
Okay. Then I want to go that route. Because I don't want to be crazy. I feel crazy and I can't do that.
But you mentioned that early, and when I was reading that study over the weekend, I said, "This is Rebecca." When she gets out of the hospital up there, I want to have you on
That sounds really promising, actually. My home health nurse comes tomorrow.
Good.
She will draw labs weekly.
Wonderful.
So I have a question. Out of all this in a long time, we haven't had her thyroid tested again.
Yeah, and there's so much other stuff right now, Garrett, that can mess with that thyroid level that I don't want to do that too often, because otherwise we're going to be going up and down, and she's got so many stomach symptoms that I was confident was a COVID-related thing. I didn't want to put something else in that mix. I do care about her thyroid level, but that's probably on the back end of the digestion problem that we'll want to recheck it.
I have some questions.
Yeah, the change in nutrition through the tube. Her dietitian gave her like a step down so that she can just be on it while she sleeps. How long before we can start doing that step down?
I don't know that yet. I'd like to see what her first set of nutrition labs come back. So with
Those are all the strips I got from U of M.
Which is another thing that I want to go through.
what I'd like, because the home health nurse got empowered by somebody other than me, so I'm going to make this as a request first and an order when it officially comes my way. When they do the labs, if they can do a pre-albumin level, what that means is the very first protein that I'm absorbing is going to show up like that.
Okay.
And I want to make sure she's absorbing.
Okay.
So if they can add that to the labs, if it hasn't already been done, eventually they're getting their marching orders from the docs in the hospital.
Yeah.
They'll get them from me very, very soon. When
Okay.
that transition comes, then I'll be the one ordering the labs. But pre-albumin will be on them until we've seen that level go fairly
I
high.
was wondering when you would take over
Yeah,
or so.
and then we'll start weaning back.
Okay.
But until we get some solid evidence that you've got great nutrition getting in, I'd want that tube staying in your body. I'd want the bulk of your diet for right now being that osmolite, but not restricting anything that you felt hungry for.
Okay. And that's what we've been doing.
And that's a more complete answer on when do we start weaning it back. Let's get you solidly in a good foundation. They were wise enough to put that in, and they also were wise enough to bypass the stomach.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that idea a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a good idea. So I do want us, I think I need to up the Ativan. I don't think it's,
Yeah, Ativan's going to have to come from them.
Okay.
And so one of I'd seen that on the discharge paper, same way with the fentanyl. They don't allow us in primary care to do more than 3 days.
This is my doctor
of those
appointment
two.
today.
So if they have a pain clinic specialist, and I know they do,
Yeah.
that's their baby.
okay. So when will I have antibody testing next?
That's a great question. When I have the official order on the labs they're drawing, not only will you get the antibody testing IgG, but another thing that's recently surfaced is IgM.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the first one on the scene, so you'll get both of those
Okay.
whenever I take over the ordering
Okay.
of the labs.
And that's gonna be up to them when you take over, right? But it'll have.
Yeah, it should be really soon.
Okay.
It should be like this week.
Yeah, they said that they would make it all a smooth transition.
Yeah, the typical is that the doc that sends somebody home is going to have that order the first time, the first week. I'll have it from that point forward.
Okay.
So I don't want to give them two sets of orders,
Right.
which is why I would rather request it this time, because
Yes.
that'll be easy enough to do. And then it should transition with the next one.
Okay. And then what can we do about my insomnia? I only got 2 hours of sleep last night. I'm just not tired. I wanted to do stuff.
The hospital threw a bunch of stuff at her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
This
really sedated.
is probably going to be sort of a weird answer, so hear me out on this. You look well. I've got evidence that this COVID is finally leaving, with that ALT being normal for the first time since I've known you. You've got
Yes,
so
it's my
much
doctor talking.
pent-up energy.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'd want to give you something to make you sleep.
Okay.
Like anything beyond melatonin, that includes the Desereau.
And they were giving me melatonin in the hospital.
Yeah, I say melatonin would be fine, but we're in a nice spot in September and October for sleeping because we're getting kind of a normal light dark cycle. Read.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'll start opening the windows, I don't know if you sleep too.
Yeah.
But I
And
can't
I would-
I have a bunch of books that I want to read.
I would sleep when you're tired for sure. You don't look tired at all.
I'm not.
Well, they also sedated her so much that she like couldn't even hold her eyes open.
Yeah.
So she must have got a lot.
Yeah, and so you certainly got rest.
Yeah, I don't
Now,
feel
if you
tired.
came in and you looked like you were dragging, that's a different story. But I'd rather get less medicine, not
Oh,
more.
wait, that's.
But the one that I would want to do today is the estrogen.
Okay.
And again, it should hit New England Journal whatever day they publish this week.
Okay.
I think it's Thursday.
That sounds good. I think that's it. Yeah, because the estrogen will take care of the muscle migraine.
Yeah, because we're getting to the source. Yeah, I've got essentially a neurologic side effect of COVID. I have a bunch of other smart people that have just confirmed this is all related to your COVID. And now I have a new tool.
Okay. What about Haldol?
Haldol's one that is going to take that wonderful mind of yours for a very big walk. I'd rather not do that. Now, Haldol, even though it is controlled, that slides under the Michigan rule. I'm not really sure I understand why. Like, I could prescribe that one, but I can't do the Ativan, I can't do the fentanyl.
But
It's not a consistent rule from the state, but we could use that one. I tend to use things that are a little bit milder.
Because that's what was working in the hospital.
Yeah, but you also had a lot of bells and whistles at the
Yeah.
hospital and a stampede of people that
Yeah.
can see you. And you have a much smaller stampede at
Yeah.
home, and you can send them to their room if they're fucking you.
Yeah.
Gary, how about you?
Did you?
Oh, when you do take over the care, I want to see if it's possible to get a different pump. Because in the hospital, the pump was both the flushes and the feeds. And we have to do manual flushes. And it's really annoying.
So they had a pump that could do both flush and
Yes.
feed. Yeah, and especially since we'll probably end up doing some water through that as
But
we're
that's
leaning
what we
down.
do, yeah.
Yeah. So the Osmolite I have, what's the amount of water that we get?
Yeah, we do
150 milliliters
150.
every 4 hours.
every 4
Okay,
hours.
so that's a pretty sizable amount, but also
pee like
a
crazy.
sufficient
I pee a lot.
amount.
Yeah, I'm peeing like crazy.
Yeah, I see.
So the way that I've been doing it for at least 2 of them is I just combine it with her medications.
Sure.
So
That sounds
since
like
I'm
a good
putting the
plan.
medications through the tube, I just mix it in with 50
And that's what they were
cc's
doing
or
in the
whatever.
Sure.
hospital. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I think they treated you really, really well.
Oh, yes.
And I was not expecting, but I'm very pleasantly surprised with the feeding tube because that,
It sucks, but
well, no, but it eliminates the need for the shots.
yes.
And it should eliminate the need for anything beyond an oral medicine to help with the nausea. But if I'm her, I'm keeping that tube in probably, at least a couple weeks, probably a month or a little more. But a consistent
Okay.
pattern if we don't need the tube and you're maintaining
They're really good.
nutrition.
Okay.
That's our goal.
Okay, because the dietitian gave me, she said that we're gonna start at 20 hours a day, 66 mLs an hour, and then when I'm able to, we'll progress to, like
Bolus feeds.
16 hours a day, yeah. And then eventually we'll get it down to as low as 12 hours a day, so it can be mostly nighttime.
Sure, and it'll eventually include some bolus feeds as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it sounds like you've got a fantastic dietitian. I am prayerful that you have a fantastic home health nurse. Normally, they don't.
I do.
Yeah, well, you already do, but they're going to send out somebody probably
Yeah.
pretty educated since you have a feeding tube in. So I think you're likely to be very impressed with that person.
I like the service so far. I've been texting them this morning.
Yeah.
They've been responsive. She
Men.
was supposed to come today, but I didn't appointment with you instead, so come tomorrow.
But let's see if she can please get that pre-albumin level, because that's going to be when we're getting that, then and only then are
I'll
they
answer your
going to
questions
get.
after.
You know, let's start cutting back on this a little.
It's almost done.
I want to talk about medications on the
Yeah.
way around. See if there's something we need to cut out.
Yeah, unless the pain clinic is going to take over the Ativan, Roxicet, or fentanyl, that's got to come from them.
They gave us pretty good prescriptions.
Yeah, he said he was gonna ask home with a month's supply.
Yeah,
because,
licensure does not permit that in the state of Michigan.
And that's why he told,
said.
that must be why he told
Yeah.
us to get him there.
But you're also not likely to need it for that long.
Okay, but I have one on now.
I'm not a fan of the Senna, but I don't want
I'm
to.
not a fan of it either.
I don't want to disturb the current vibe until I see what the pre-albumin comes back.
So that, like, literally makes me have accidents on myself.
That's why I'm not a fan of it.
Okay. Like,
I'm not against you stopping it,
okay.
Okay, that's what we're doing.
and I would be less against you stopping the nortriptyline. I don't understand that as a choice.
What's that one for?
That was depression slash
Sleep, I think.
pain slash sleep, like all the above.
Which is fine because I upped your Lyrica, so.
The sertraline will want, the Protonics will need.
This one that's written on it. This one we're gonna
Yeah.
stop.
And so essentially we'll let the labs dictate when we can start cutting back on the amount of feedings. I don't think this is going to take long because of that test.
I just want to make sure that nothing that you were prescribing is going to contradict or do anything.
Estrogen should help unlock a nice.
What about like the Lyrica and?
The Lyrica, I'm fine with you setting aside now that you've got the other pain medicine, but I've got
Oh, I
and
was
the
gonna ask
estrogen.
you for more muscle relaxers.
Yeah, I'm fine with that too.
Okay.
I can with the estrogen. I think we can get to the heart of what the Lyrica was trying to help.
Okay. Because they had me on gabapentin in the hospital.
Yeah.
And that
Messed up her
messed
eyes.
up my vision so bad.
Yeah, and I think we've given that a whirl in the outpatient
Yeah.
setting,
And that's what it did.
Yeah. So that was.
But yeah, let's pull out of the Lyrica for now. But the muscle relaxer, I will send that to your pharmacy along with the estrogen.
Okay.
And that's a great question. Anytime somebody comes with a slew of medicines, let's make sure
Well, we brought 10 new
everybody
ones
gets
home.
along.
Yeah.
10 new ones home, and I'm already doing
But yeah, the
it.
home health nurse that came over, she's like, wow,
Yeah.
this is a lot.
But yeah,
And
it's
like,
probably
we're
the
able
first
to-
long haul COVID
Yeah.
that she should.
Yeah, it was, yeah. And we were able to put the injections in the we're gonna put them in the safe and not use them.
Good.
Keep them
So
away.
what I would advise is when it's possible to get rid of the Senna, I would.
Okay.
When it's possible to get rid of the nortriptyline, I would.
Okay.
Those two. And then once you're kind of in that groove of I've got great labs, I've got my energy coming back, then I think we need to work on those controlled substances probably starting next week.
Okay, because I do have a lot of energy.
Yeah, I like seeing you with that
Yeah,
energy. I
it's
would.
crazy because I only have 2 hours of sleep, but I don't feel like that.
Yeah.
I want to go.
Now the final piece. This is not the medicine that's causing you to have energy.
Okay.
This
The
is you.
food.
This is you.
Yeah.
This is you recovering.
Also, is that helping a lot too for getting your nutrition finally?
Yeah, the nutrition definitely makes a difference, but this is your body declaring victory on this
Yeah.
thing, and so the only thing we've got left to do is sweep out some of the garbage that was left over from it.
It's been so
It
long.
has been very, very long, but I'm seeing a lot of evidence that your body has declared victory.
Me too, actually.
We're picking up a few small straggling pieces.
Yeah.
And while it's hard to characterize small straggling when you've got the NG2, but in the grand scheme, that's where we are.
And I'm nervous. I'm nervous to get a period again because that's when everything gets worse.
And
We're gonna
thanks to
start one.
this new group of researchers, we're going to try to circumvent them.
Okay.
Yeah, there's U of M. We can't say that there was nothing that wasn't
Yeah.
turned over
Yeah,
and
we
looked at.
We have a follow-up with infectious disease and with GI, but if you don't think GI is a necessary follow-up, we don't
For
want
the time being, I don't, because that tube is super easy to remove. You just pull it.
Okay.
That's it. Nobody wants to pull it.
Right.
And until and unless you've got really good nutrition down the hatch for at least a week, I would want that tube in.
Okay. Yeah, then it's not worth the drive to go to see the GI.
So this is the first time I want to make a date prediction for you.
Oh.
November the 1st, I think we're all done.
That's
You're
so
back to
far
doing
away.
everything
Oh,
that
really?
you do without any
September.
restrictions at all.
Okay.
We got a little repair work to do, which is where the nutrition piece comes in.
They said they want to start physical therapy, but they didn't give me any.
Yeah, let's see
follow-up on that.
what you have one at home, because I
Okay.
think you have a lot of physical therapy trainees
Yes.
that can help give you that energy. to
And I
get
have
up
a
and
bike,
go.
I have an exercise
Yeah.
bike.
Yeah.
Okay.
And getting to know you, you definitely have incentives. So I don't think anybody's going to push you to get up and go when you feel well.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm not against that, but I think
I
that
think you're right.
the ID people probably one follow-up visit just to make sure there's not anything they're seeing from their side of the research.
Yeah.
But I think we're inside of 60 days before it's all done. And we should see a steady recovery between now and then.
Isn't that crazy? What a long time to be sick. Almost a whole year.
Yeah. My one fellow was so happy to get back into work last
I
week.
bet. Good
First,
for him.
he'd been sick since February.
Oh my God. Good for that really gives me hope actually.
You're
Good for him.
You're beating the other two ladies that have this, and they're recovering. They're not recovering like this as
Okay.
fast as you.
And that's because U of M was so great to me, I think.
Well, U of M's giving you a really good tool in that GI tube, but they are very much helping ease some of the anxiety. Yes, this is what you have. Yes, we've seen this too. It takes a little while to get better. And now you have a plan going forward.
Yeah. And that helps a lot, actually.
Yeah, like almost every one of her nurses and her nurse techs had worked on the COVID floor up there, so they knew, they seen stories, they had
Yeah, they
stories.
didn't doubt it at all.
Yeah.
And by reading what they typed up, they didn't doubt us at all because they wanted to admit me before anything.
Right, and you, besides myself, I'm not sure you had anybody in the medical community that affirmed
No,
your
I hadn't.
illness. And now you have a whole bunch of people
Yeah.
that have affirmed it. Said this is a real thing, this is not a psychological, like it's psychological, but it's not psychologically caused. It's psychologically a little traumatic. I would very much predict done by November 1st.
Okay, I can do that.
So.
It's easy when there's a date.
But if you can, just try to eat when you're hungry, even if you're getting tube fed at the time. And I want to have a munch on that and see what happens there. But that tube feeding is going to help reestablish your gut's ability to digest really, really well.
Yeah, I still have to get over swallowing because when I swallow it, I want to throw up.
In the grand scheme, if your esophagus is about that big, your tube is taking up about that much space. It just feels really weird because as it's moving through, you get a little bit of folding during the peristalsis.
Okay.
Keep up the good work. I plan on seeing you one more time live next week,
Okay.
but you'll likely hear from me in between if they send me a copy of the lab results. Okay.
Sounds
Good.
good.
See you
I'm going to
soon.
make an appointment for them this
Okay. So that was the appointment. It was hard to hear some of it, but very hopeful to hear some of it too. Because he never has given us a date before, or like even a time frame. And now he's got one, a very confident one. And that feels hopeful, but it feels far away. Because, you know, I have to be on my machine 20 hours a day. I've done 427 mLs of my 1320, and I can't unplug until I've done 1320. This is it. And it hurts all the time. I don't know. What else? So, November 1st is doable. I can, I've done it this long. I can do a little bit more. I don't want to be on this the whole time. That would suck. But if it's necessary to get my kids and, be a mom and do all that stuff, then I'll do whatever I can. It's just hard, and I feel awful complaining because it's been so many months of me complaining and of Garrett doing everything, and it's just not fair, I think. It's just not fair to them. I don't know why I'm crying. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. That sucks. You shouldn't let me cry.
Oh, yeah. Just turn it off.
And I'm sorry we started late. I wasn't feeling well. But Garrett's done a really great job of manning the fort. Yes, he doesn't like to take credit, but, he's keeping 5 of us alive, and I'm the biggest baby that needs the most help. So he's doing a really good job. Lucas got to be included on some of our care today. He wanted to help fill the syringes of my medicine. So that was fun. Oh, she's mad. Hang on. Lemon is angry.
What's she want?
Our battery charged.
Oh.
Look at this cat. So I'm hopeful. I'm cautiously optimistic. For ANA autoimmune, the doctors say that they have markers, but nothing specific. So I follow up with rheumatology and infectious disease next week, and then I'll have someone else like the following week. There's 2 weeks of appointments that I have to do, and it's like 2 hours away, so that part sucks, but the care is amazing, and our nurses were wonderful. The doctors were amazing. We had Michigan medicine doctors, and I'm a Buckeye. I'm an Ohio State fan, so for me to brag about Michigan anything is pretty out there. This is what COVID looks like when you have COVID. This is your bed. And you keep your stuff nearby for stuff to do. This is what we call Lemon. She's this. And I stay attached to her for 20 hours. I don't remember the diagnosis, but I will check again, and I'll listen again and I'll remember that way. We're planning a really fun surprise for our son's 7th birthday. They haven't had anything good all summer. So we're going to do some good, and we're going to make it special, because the kids deserve it so much, and so does Garrett. I just don't know what to do for him, but the kids deserve it so much too. With, going to school and being online and me being sick, and it's been very hard. I think it's hurting Lucas the most, actually, because he's become the most sensitive, the most clingy, the most texting me every 5 minutes that he loves me so much. I think he's worried that I'm gonna die. But I'm not gonna die. I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna get off for now. So thank you for watching and for all the support. We really can't thank you guys enough for the support. Honestly, it's the only thing getting us through this time right now. And one day we'll be able to pay it back and pay it forward, and we will. Okay. Do you want to say anything?
Go subscribe to Carson's YouTube channel.
Carson he wants to be YouTube famous. I love you guys and thank you for everything. We'll probably try to do this again. It's easier than post. I can't see or read or write or do anything like that. I'm literally a child. Okay, yeah, I have to be baby fed and I'm a child, I know. And everyone, if I go out in public, I look like a freak, so what kind do you do? Okay, I love you.
So
Good night.
click that like button, subscribe, and click